Check it out. This is the one I call Milner.
Milner?
Thor's hammer.
Oh, yes, Milner.
Anyways. I fight the algae with this mess. What's up? We out here, day one commons. We got our uniform on, apparently.
This is not planned.
Not planned. We accidentally showed up with the same hat, so we're twinning on accident. How embarrassing. And he's got a Supreme hoodie on. Got my champion, so you gotta either have Supreme or champion to be in these videos. Apparently,
yeah.
All right, Jeff, what we got going on today?
So today it's a little different. We're not here to talk to you about urban streetwear, whatever else we normally would talk about on this channel.
It's gonna be diff.
But yeah, just to mix it up a little bit. Some of our other hobbies that we're into, the members in this group. We're gonna talk to you about aquariums.
Aquariums.
Specifically today, freshwater aquariums, but really most of what we talk about today can be applied to saltwater, any other types of aquariums out there.
Yeah, pretty much aquariums are the hype beast piece of the grown-up world. All right, if you have a house, you need a nice aquarium to spice it up with the aesthetics. My boy right here does some Aquascape designs. He has his own business that he does a lot of places like Huntington Library in Pasadena. So this dude is the expert. He knows what to do, and so that's what we're gonna set up a fish tank today. I haven't had one since I was like in junior high, and it was not very good.
Yeah.
So he's gonna help me set up a nice tank. So what are some of the pieces we got here today that we're gonna use for this fish tank?
Yeah, so I want to first start off with, basically, if you notice here, you'll see this is our fish tank that we're going to use. This is, maybe you've seen a fish tank like this, maybe you haven't. This one obviously has no plastic or metal trimming around it. It looks just like a glass, basically a glass cage.
Yeah.
Which is really nice because once it's filled up, it just looks like a floating piece of...
It's super clean.
Yeah,
and that's why
super
I like
clean.
this.
It's super
What brand
clean.
is this?
Aqua Design Amano is the brand. ADA is what we'll call it for short in some of these products that we'll be using. But yeah, I wanted to first start off with a fish tank. That's basically, and it sounds stupid, but this is where you need to start.
It is where you start. So this is a fish tank. ADA design is pretty much the standard for fish tank design. It's super clean. So when you fill it up, you pretty much want the fish tank to look like it's by itself.
So you want your aquarium to be the focal point.
Yes.
The less equipment and other components of your aquarium system is better if they're hidden, or just to detract less from what you're actually trying to show off.
Because you actually want it to look nice. It's like a work of art. So things like Aquascape designs, it's not just putting a goldfish in a bowl. It's designing a whole landscape for your room, for your office, for a hospital, for him, for the Huntington Library in Pasadena. So it's a place where you actually want to look at and be relaxed and not just hold a bunch of fish.
Yeah, so it's not really like all about having pets. It's not, this actually isn't going to be about fish. We're going to have fish in there eventually. You'll see them later in other, later on in other episodes of this. But the main point is actually the aesthetic of the whole, as a whole, holistically. So to continue, this is where we're going to start. This is an ADA aquarium.
Sweet.
Okay, so this is where we start. The next components we'll be talking about aren't in any specific order. They're all actually equally important. But because we're going to be talking about live plants, freshwater with live plants, I wanted to talk about the soil. This I've been using for years, especially with freshwater plants. This one is an Amazonia Light. So I don't know if you can tell from the bag, it might be a little glare, but it's brown, but it's lighter than what we normally would use. We usually would use like a black type of soil. But what you want to do is you want to use an aquarium plant soil for the purpose of aquariums, because you can't just go to your local orchard supply, buy their plant soil, and expect it to look great in an aquarium, because it's going to get all muddy.
Yeah.
It's just not suitable for
It's not
aquatic
designed for
plants.
that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is designed for aquatic plants.
Yes.
So this is what we'll be using. So in the future, when we actually do set up the aquarium, we'll actually go into how it can be scaped. The term aquascape. So that's basically landscaping underwater in an aquarium.
Aquascape.
Soil will be used greatly in that because
Yes.
that is the foundation for your scape.
Yeah.
Okay?
So you don't want to cheap out on the soil, especially if you have live plants. I mean, we're not doing rocks up in here. You can do that, but
So there's
live plants. You need good soil so that your plants grow healthy. Because if your plants are healthy, your tank is healthy, and that means your fish and your shrimp are healthy.
And so and this is an alternative to just using playground sand. I mean, playground sand has no nutrients in it.
Oh.
Aquatic soil. So the reason why we would use this for live plants is because it actually provides nutrients for the plants.
Cool.
And we'll get into a little bit later of the different types of plants that would require soil. And there are aquatic plants that don't require soil. So if you are on a budget and you want a different aesthetic one and also a different price point in your budget, you can also use sand or a cheaper substrate, they would call it. And so you don't need to use this, but this is a huge component in what we're going to be doing.
Substrate.
Substrate is the key word.
All
Okay,
right.
so that's one major component.
Okay,
So the next is in our aesthetic is what accents our soil is not only the plants, but also what we call hardscape. Okay, so in this I guess portion or detail of this aquarium would be we're going to be using hardwood, driftwood. Okay, another form of hardscape would be using rocks, stone, but basically that is the skeleton, you would call it, for your aquascape. Okay, so it would be simply placed within the soil, and we'll show you that later on of how you would lay out and present your aquarium. So as you can kind of tell already a little bit, these aquariums will be a lot different than your typical aquarium you'd see in your dentist office. I'm sure you've seen the aquariums with colorful rocks on the bottom, your little castle that's in there.
Like in Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo, that exact fish tank.
Yes.
Which was also in my dentist office, actually.
Yeah. So it's not no Finding Nemo.
So
this is straight art.
we're basically mimicking what's in nature.
Yeah.
So, okay. So yeah, we have different types of driftwood, and what you'll find that what works best are for an aesthetic is something that looks natural. So we're not going with a log. That doesn't look, unless you're going for that look, but
Yeah.
we're not going for just like a block of wood or only round rocks. Something with a little bit of form that you would find in nature, and how to actually form it so that it actually looks pleasing to the eye. So that actually looks pretty good.
Actually, I like that.
So
Nice.
without even trying. So that's exactly my point. Is the type of wood actually kind of makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Makes your job a little easier.
Looks cool.
So that's just
Hardscape.
And hardscape. There's even detail of hardscape where what we're going to be doing later on is we're actually going to be attaching some of the plants to the wood.
Yeah.
So when we talk about plants, we'll explain why and how that works.
Now, driftwood. Do you buy driftwood?
Oh yes, it sounds really weird. I do buy driftwood.
Okay.
You can't. That's a good question. You can't just. You can go find driftwood, especially if it's on the beach or not, but or in the forest. But you have to be very careful, especially like if you get driftwood from the ocean. We're building a freshwater aquarium. If you get driftwood from the ocean, you definitely need to wash it very well, boil it. This wood, in fact, was boiled just earlier today.
We just boiled this.
To
We'll show
disinfect
you how to
it.
do that.
Yeah. This was disinfected specifically because it was in my backyard for a number of months, and who knows what's been growing on it, and bacteria and fungus.
So you need to clean it off so that it's clean for your tank. Because again, a healthy tank is what's going to help your plants grow and your fish grow and all that. So
yeah,
it's gonna
everything
keep
everything will
things
stay
healthy.
safe. Exactly. Yeah. But anyways, we do buy our driftwood. Local fish stores. You can go to your local fish store. They have driftwood. They can source driftwood for you.
Yeah.
If not, a store like Aquaforest Aquarium, based out in San Francisco, they also have good selection of different types of driftwood,
Yeah.
as well as different types of rock. Okay. So here we have
Oh, do you want to plug it in?
a light fixture. No, we don't need to turn on. It's a white light, but basically, depending on if you're using lights for a saltwater aquarium or freshwater, there are different color temperature bulbs. Okay. Some people think they can use any other like desk lamp, but really, certain plants, especially freshwater plants, grow under a certain color temperature, just as in nature.
Right.
And even with saltwater aquariums, people have special lights for their aquariums to replicate what's in nature. So just as different corals grow at different depths in the water, so do freshwater plants. So it really takes some experience and some research to know how to grow certain plants. So certain plants will need a certain brightness of light as well. Okay. So, but this is a pretty bright light. This is a small aquarium, as you can tell. It's really not that deep, so we can pretty much grow almost anything in this type of aquarium. If we had a larger aquarium, something specifically depth is what's important, not really width, is because the light penetration. Okay. So that's the key thing is when you're buying your aquarium and when you're trying to figure out which light you need to get, it really depends on how tall your aquarium is. And if you really want to get technical, people do use light meters, at certain depths to see how bright that light really gets.
Right. I don't think we mentioned it. Well, I'll show you what this tank is. This tank is an 8-gallon tank.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention.
So if you're comparing sizes, this is an 8-gallon tank, so which is on the smaller side, even of a personal tank in a
fairly
house.
small.
Yes.
And for you guys watching, a smaller fish tank is a harder fish tank to start with. I recommend to all beginners always start with a larger fish tank.
Whoops.
It's okay.
This
will be a challenge, but no, it'll be fine. Well, the reason why I say that is because a fish tank is all about chemical balance. Okay, it's water chemistry, right? The water is the home for the fish and the plants. Basically, the entire inhabitant population that's inside your aquarium. The larger the aquarium, the harder it is to mess up that balance
because it evens out over a large scale.
If you accidentally put a little too much, tap water and you didn't treat the tap water in a large aquarium, no big deal. The fish have
more space.
More the other volume of water really, it wouldn't be affected as much. Smaller aquarium, you can definitely fluctuate the chemical balance, manipulate it way faster than you would in a larger aquarium. So that's another food for thought.
So what was the size that you recommend? You said a little bit bigger, but how big?
I would say 20 gallons or above.
Okay, 20 gallons.
Sounds like a big. Even 20 gallons is kind of small, but a lot of people will buy 10 gallons. That's where they think, I'll start small, then I'll grow bigger.
But you should actually go.
Sort of a mistake. I mean, a 10 gallon can be very tricky.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will try a 10 gallon, they'll fail, and they just give up. And they're like, I can't take care of fish.
Right. So
or plants or corals. Yeah.
So 20 gallons where you want to start. This is 8 gallons.
I would say 20 gallons is minimum.
It's not that much bigger.
Yeah.
You go look at them, but it's not that much bigger, but yeah, it is 12 more gallons. All right, so that was a light?
The lights, because that's pretty much the source of
the growth?
Photosynthesis for the plants.
Photosynthesis.
And how that applies also to saltwater aquariums is also because if you have, for instance, corals, they also need sunlight as well. Because I believe it's, I don't really know for sure, but the corals also use it.
Photosynthesis?
A process similar to photosynthesis, but I think it's more bacteria or algae based. But anyways, the lights are very important for
Yes.
photosynthesis
Lights.
for our plants.
Yeah.
Without lights, the plants will actually just die.
And plants, again,
In nature, if there's darkness,
they just
I don't think you'll
grow.
ever find plants.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some type of plants out there, but
Yeah,
that's
the
not what
weird
we're trying to
plants.
mimic here.
Yeah, so
Okay.
again, healthy plant, healthy tank. So that's why you need
Yes.
good water and good light and clean wood.
And so the next major component of an aquarium, before we set it up, is actually filtration. Okay, so that's the next topic. And for this video, or for this aquarium, we'll be using an XB303. It's a Shiruba canister filter. It's a Japanese brand, I believe. But we basically went with this type of filtration. Again, you can Google this, and there's a lot of other types of filters out there. Some filters hang on the side of your aquarium.
Yeah.
Some filters are external to your aquarium, and we'll demonstrate a little bit of how it would be attached or incorporated into this aquarium. But so going back to the aesthetics, okay, the reason why we chose something like this is so that it's not hanging on the aquarium. We wanted to because it's a small aquarium. If you hang a filter on here, it's like already a quarter of the display. You know,
Yeah.
that's not what we want. So we wanted to have something where it could be on the floor or on the side of the aquarium.
Right.
So when people want to go up to your aquarium to take a look at it, you know, there's not, you know, a big filter in the right there in view.
I specifically wanted something that could take away from having this thing hanging on it. That's one of the pet peeves I had when I had my old tank. 'Cause I hated the way it looked.
Yeah.
So I knew, like, one, I wanted an ADA tank because it was just no trim. Minimalistic. And I wanted no filter on the tank. I wanted to do it differently, which is an external filter. And then we'll show you how that connects to this.
Yeah. And then another technical reason why we would want to use a canister filter is, with a canister filter, you can actually house much more inhabitants in the aquarium, basically shrimp and fish, than just a hang-on filter. And the reason why I say that is because the volume of filter media that we can actually store in here versus one that can hang on the tank is really it's very limited.
Yeah.
In another video, we can do one where we actually go through the different layers of a filter.
Yes.
We don't, for sake of time, we won't do that right now. But but in here, it's a little tinted, but there are different layers, like a filter floss, bio growth, basically beneficial bacteria growth media, and so there's actually a lot of benefit to having a canister filter.
Yeah.
Again, you know, with the more technical reasons, you know, the beneficial bacteria is what we use to detoxify the water, and that's the reason why you can actually have more shrimp and fish.
Cool.
If you did not have this, the waste, the ammonia in the water, the waste in the water builds up, becomes toxic, things start to die. So whether that's too many inhabitants, overfeeding, this can help combat that for you.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so that's the reason why we want to go with
external
this.
also.
Yeah, so there's a lot of technical reasons,
Nice.
benefits, but also aesthetics.
Nice.
Okay, so there's two holes here, inlet, outlet. Okay. This thing came with tubing. So if this filter is external to the tank, you know, it would be like this. We'll cut the tubing to size, okay? And let me show you the next component, okay? You can open this box. So these are components for the filter, intake and outflow. This is an offshoot of an ADA, the ADA brand, Do Aqua. It's supposed to be a little more cheaper, but consumer friendly, but it's still quite pricey.
Yeah. So again, look at the minimalistic, like,
Yeah. So
it's glass. So when it's in the water, you don't see it as much. It just blends in.
So people don't, you know, probably haven't seen this too much either. They're more used to seeing plastic,
Yeah.
whether it's black or green, plastic fittings, I guess, you would see in the tank as well. So again, going back to aesthetics, minimalistic, this is something that can help with your aesthetics.
Yes.
This is purely aesthetic. Maybe a little bit of the purpose would be there are different outflow pipes. This kind of helps create a turbulence in the water. So there are different reasons.
This also helps, instead of just being, if it just cut off here, it would just diffuse straight in and create like a big, huge stream, right? So this one hits the orb, and then it does create turbulence, but it also
the rest of the aquarium stays a little more calm.
Yeah, because it will just shoot out more naturally than just a stream, like a river coming out. So I think that's why the orb. But yeah, it is a lot of aesthetics of why it's glass and why it's more expensive.
Just to kind of show you what it would look like. You know, it would hang on the edge of the aquarium like this, and you know, because it's glass, you don't see it as easily.
Right.
But obviously, to keep up the aesthetic, algae can grow on it, yes. But you just take it off and you can clean it.
Clean it, yeah.
Okay.
So the tubes are going to this, right?
The tubes are going onto this, and the tubes will be connected to the filter.
Yep.
So here is a piece of glass. Yes, fancy. This is, you know, it came with this aquarium, but it's specifically sized for it. And it did come with stainless steel clips that would hang on the aquarium edges right here. And basically this is just a lid for the aquarium, so it would just rest right there like that. The nice thing about this is, one, in keeping with the aesthetics, keeping it minimal, you know, it's glass because then it wouldn't warp. If we had a plastic cover, the heat from our lights, and even over time, would eventually warp. You know, the plastic would bend and warp, and it would it wouldn't look that good. So that's another important reason why this is glass. And another reason why most aquariums have lids is, one, to keep all your fish and shrimp or inhabitants from escaping.
Yes.
I've had plenty of casualties.
Yeah, jump off the tank.
You know, throughout this hobby. But also another reason would be to prevent from too much evaporation.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we're going to be having some pretty strong lights on this aquarium. Some of you may be living in more warmer regions, climates. Water just evaporates really fast.
Yeah.
So the next component will be wanting to show you, especially for tropical aquariums. Keyword tropical because rainforests and the tropics are of a certain climate. Therefore, our aquarium also needs to be of the temperature of that climate. So whether you're setting up your saltwater aquarium or freshwater aquarium, yes, there are saltwater and freshwater regions that are colder, and that's in which case you would not need this, but an aquarium heater is essential in these aquariums as well, because the tropical fish that we would be putting in here, the tropical shrimp that we would be putting in here, maybe even hopefully being able to breed these shrimp, they need specific temperatures. And also these plants. Plants are a little more robust in that they probably could grow in cooler temperatures, but they just wouldn't grow as fast. They wouldn't grow to their fullest. They maybe look a little wilty, like kind of malnourished in a sense. Even the plants would need specific, water temperature.
Yeah, cool.
Okay,
so we got a heater.
And with heaters, the one we're going to be using is basically a heater that's within the tank itself. It is kind of going to be distracting or detracting from the aesthetic, but heaters are very limited. You're very limited in how you would be able to heat your aquarium correctly. This would be the most cost effective is a heater that would be in the tank, okay? Because there are other options where a heater would be what they call inline heater to your filter. You would have your canister filter, your tubing would come out of your filter, and then in between this, I would cut this here, and I would insert a heater that's in line within the tubing, so it would heat the water as it passes through. Okay, so that's a little more higher end, a little more technical. Would definitely look a lot better.
Yeah, because you don't have a heater.
But if they're usually generally expensive, and for most of you out there watching, you probably shouldn't start with that. You might not even have one of these. That's the only way you can use those heaters.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
So cool.
We just went through some of the major components of setting up an aquarium in general.
Yep.
Aquascape.
Yep.
For an aquascape aquarium, but also a saltwater reef aquarium as well. These are the general components. So we have your aquarium tank, essential, your lighting, your filtration, your substrate, and your hardscape. Okay. I think that's it.
All right. Thanks for joining us explaining what the tank is all about. We'll be setting it up soon too, so we'll show you that and the process of how to do that. You'll be walking alongside us for that. So check it out.
If there's other as we've gone through this video, as you see some of the future videos, if there are anything in particular you guys want to see more in depth, please leave a comment below.
Sure.
If you want to learn more about what specific lights to use, why I would choose a specific type of filter, those are the kind of things we can go more in depth. Just wanted to show you a quick overview of what we're going to use for this aquarium. Specifically for this aquarium, again, you can use all different types of equipment. So.
Cool. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe, like the video. We'll be putting out more content on aquascaping and other things that we're interested in. So let us know what you're interested in. Maybe we can do a video on that too.
It's all about hobbies.
It's all about hobbies.
All about having hobbies.
All right, we out here. Day One Commons. Peace.
Peace.